Hi again, Rampage fans. Dan Weiss for SARampage.com. I'm pleased to be joined by the new head coach of the San Antonio Rampage, Dean Chynoweth. Dean, first of all, on behalf of Spurs Sports Entertainment and our Rampage family, welcome to both you and your family to San Antonio.
Well, thank you. We're really looking forward to getting settled here and getting started for a good hockey season.
Talk a little bit. Our fans primarily know you as the coach of the Lake Erie Monsters for the last couple of years, but give us a little synopsis of both your coaching and playing career.
Well, I started out as a player in the New York Islander organization, and ended up getting traded to Boston towards the end of my career. Unfortunately, I had to retire from injury, but my career ended early. But I got started early on coaching, and have been very fortunate to stay in the game at all levels. I started in the old IHL, and when they were the Dragons out here, that eventually became the Rampage. But I ended up going to the Western Hockey League as a head coach for 4 years in Seattle. I ended up going up to Swift Current, Saskatchewan with the Broncos in the Western Hockey League, as well as the general manager, head coach for 5 years. And then went back to where I started in New York with the Islanders as an assistant coach. And really enjoyed that process of getting back to pro and working with the young men that are trying to obviously stay at the highest level. And after 3 years there, was fired from there and got on with Colorado to coach their top minor league team. And that was the one part that I wanted to get back to, was being a head coach and being involved in the development of our players that obviously are striving to get to the NHL. And it's a tricky thing at times, of the balancing act between the development, the winning, and then obviously the injuries and call-ups that happen throughout a season.
As an opposing coach the last 3 years coming into this building, what were always your thoughts of playing San Antonio inside the AT&T Center and the energy that you felt from the crowd that you had to associate and challenge yourself with the players?
Well, the one thing, we were fortunate in Cleveland, we had very good weekend crowds with the way they promoted it, and we knew the same here. So if you were coming in on a midweek night, maybe it was not as intense as it would be on a weekend. But in our last time in here, I mean, we won the first game, and we knew that there'd be some pushback from the Rampage the next night, and the next night was a real physical game. We like to say that separated the men and the boys, and you guys won that one and we lost it. But a great environment. Our players always talked about it. Not only, anytime you come in the middle of a season down south, the weather's the first thing the players talk about. The one thing we always talk about in these buildings was the humidity, and making sure that guys were eating properly, getting fluids into their body, and making sure they were ready for the game come game time.
You have a previous relationship with Scott Allen, former Rampage assistant coach. You coached together at the New York Islanders. How much did you talk to Scotty about San Antonio and coming down here before making your way down?
Well, quite a bit with him and Tom. I've known Tom for a number of years as well, and those guys are extremely sad right now to be leaving, because unfortunately when affiliations move, you have to move with your affiliation. And I know they both loved it here. We were fortunate on the last trip to have a few days off before we went back to Austin, and we decided to base out of here. So Tom had given us some areas to look at for housing, because we knew this was in the works. It wasn't finalized, but I'm a big planner and like to be organized, and so we were already kind of saying, okay, where would we live if we were to move here? So we took that full day off, my assistant coach and I, and went and kind of toured the city, and it's a beautiful spot.
Your teams in Lake Erie have been awfully competitive, and Rampage fans certainly know that. You've been a better than 500 team for not only your tenure in Cleveland, but many of the tenures that Colorado has worked with Lake Erie over the past 8 seasons. But for whatever reason, you haven't been able to get over the hump to get into the postseason. Is that just a product of the Western Conference, or do you think there's something else behind that too?
Well, I think there's a number of things with it. I think at any level, injuries are going to play a key part of things. We saw it in the NHL level, but at the NHL level, it's not affecting your top guys unless they're injured. At this level, what affects your top guys is all of a sudden, if not the injury, but if there's a call-up. And now all of a sudden, you see the depth of your organization, and you have to bring these young guys along maybe quicker than they're ready for. And we've had extremely young teams the last 3 years in Cleveland, and I'm proud of where we got them to by the end of the season in the sense of our competitiveness. But anytime you fall short of the playoffs, to me, it's a disappointment. So we still have a lot of room to grow in that area. I really liked how we played last year, the last 2.5, 3 months of the season, and we more or less ran out of time. And again, it's a case of these are young hockey players. They're coming in. They're not finished products, and it's our job to help them along in that process.
What's the philosophy of both Joe Sakic, Patrick Roy, and even Craig Billington in Colorado in terms of development and winning and how it all comes together?
Well, it definitely is focused on the winning side. If you were to break it down, I think that the big thing that we all agree on in the organization is that you have to win to develop. You can't just develop. If you just develop and you never win, then they're missing out on the experiences of playoff. They're missing out of the competitiveness and the challenge to get in a playoff, to go on a playoff run. And so, with them coming in, the focus has been on, look, our players, yes, they got to play, but they have to earn it. They got to earn the right to put on that jersey. They got to earn the right to be in the lineup every night. And what's happened in our dressing room over the last 2 years, since Joe and Patrick have come in, is it's made an extremely competitive environment. Whether you're a first rounder, whether you're a 10th rounder, whether you're a free agent, that doesn't give you, the free right that you're going to play and play regularly or play on the power play. You got to earn it, and Patrick's big on that. He's big on the communication. He's big on earning it, and then obviously being competitive when you go out there each and every game. That don't take anything for granted. You like I said, you work for it. You compete hard, and then we see where we're at the end of the game.
I don't like often talking about players in May as far as the American Hockey League team goes because I don't think it's fair. They obviously want to get to the National Hockey League level in Colorado in terms of for next season. But one guy who is under contract, and every AHL team needs a leader, a veteran guy that's been there and knows the rigors. Ben Street, who Rampage fans are very familiar with. He's played in Abbotsford, obviously played with you guys last year. What does he bring to the table? And when you look at him as kind of being your veteran leader, how much do you believe that helps your young group?
Oh, it's huge. We haven't had a player probably like Benny in my 2 years or my 3 years there. He plays in all situations. He has unbelievable poise with the puck, his vision on the ice. He's more of a playmaker, but he can score, and he's one of those players at our level that makes players better around him. And so not only is that good on the ice, but this is a guy that started out in the East Coast Hockey League. Talk about earning it and working your way up. This guy's done it. So, for him to be in the dressing room as well and off the ice to, keep guys in check or let them know, hey, this is how it works. I've been in this league. I've also been in the lower league. I've also been to the NHL. So, whether it's smarten up or, hey, you're on the right track, keep going. He's just a tremendous guy to have in your room and on the ice.
We asked our fans to offer their questions here in our first get-together using the hashtag #AskDean, so I want to get to a couple of them. First one is, what style of play can the fans expect, and do you foresee having a majority of the same roster that you had last year in Lake Erie?
We hope to have majority of the roster. Obviously, at pro hockey, there's contracts that expire, guys that need to be qualified, restricted free agents, unrestricted free agents. But for the most part, when I map out our lineup, we'll be very similar to last year with a few additions. We had a few injuries like Max Norro that had a season-ending injury that should be a big guy on defense for us. The style of play, I'm a big believer that you have to play with pace, so you got to have tempo to your game, so you got to be able to skate. And I think organizationally we've talked about that. You get into the Matt Duchene's, the Nathan McKinnon's, the style of play that Colorado plays, Landeskog. You have to have speed, you have to be able to play with tempo, but you also have to have some size and compete to be able to battle in the dirty areas and be able to get to the net to score goals or win your battles down low. And I've seen an improvement with our group over the last couple of years with that. And then, again, you're going to have a different makeup of guys that fit in that maybe specialize on the power play or specialize on the penalty kill. The intangibles come along, are real important with certain players of what they bring, not only off the ice, but on the ice in certain areas. So I like our group moving forward. I think it's been a young group that's slowly been getting better each and every year, and again, we have the nucleus back.
This next question I thought was an interesting one because I think it deals with a lot of organizations similar to yours that, are forced to pick up and relocate when they change affiliation. So the question is, what are the challenges and advantages that come with maintaining or changing the identity of a team through an affiliation move?
Well, we're very fortunate to work again with another NBA team. We worked with the Cavaliers in Cleveland, and to me, San Antonio and Cleveland were viewed as not only top teams in the NBA, but their organizational structure with all their sport entities that work underneath them. And that's a comfort level for us because we know how it works, the promotions that go on at the games at our level, the community involvement that's needed for not only the team to have success, but for our young players to grow. I think that it's fairly seamless in the situation we're in, other than getting used to a new area when the players come in, finding places to live, and I mean that's just part of our business. Yeah. So, but I see it as fairly seamless.
What about the challenge, I guess, of playing in a new division and playing teams that not only your team but yourself you haven't seen over the course of your American Hockey League career, talking about teams like Manchester and Worcester, the teams that have been based out in the Eastern Conference for a long time now? Well,
we look forward to it, that's for sure. It'll be very exciting with the new division. And obviously there's only a couple teams from Calgary to Edmonton that are Bakersfield and Stockton as well that are out there, but there seems to be a bit of a trend, and we've been slowly building towards it, of the Western Conference teams in the NHL are bigger bodied teams than the Eastern Conference. It's very evident with the Anaheims, the LAs, the St. Louis, you get into the San Jose's, and so there's been a shift in the development side of things with the teams trying to have prospects in their organization that can compete with the bigger bodied guys. So we've seen that, though. We saw that in the North with Toronto. We saw that with Montreal. Those types of teams, even Utica, which was Vancouver's team. So it'll be a new division. I think the travel will probably be the most interesting part to see how that plays out. But again, the game's played on the ice, and you got to compete hard. You got to execute and be committed to what we're doing.
What about organizationally, the proximity of San Antonio to Denver? How much will that strengthen, do you believe, the relationship between Colorado and the affiliate?
Well, either way, both are a flight. This is a shorter flight by about half an hour. So I don't know if that plays into the Players Association, that they go from first class back to the cattle in the back, or what happens. But no, just kidding. It should be, there shouldn't be any issues with that. I mean, everything's going to be a flight. We're going to organizationally, we got to figure out an East Coast League affiliate of what we're doing there, and I know Craig Billington's been working diligently on that. Okay, before we let you go, I think this is a great way to finish up, considering it's May and we've got a while till training camp begins, but I thought this was the question of the day coming in. If you were approached by the actress Dean Chynoweth, who's not Chynoweth, doesn't have the exact same last name, but to form a touring lounge act, what would you call the name of your dynamic duo? Jeez. That is quite a question. I got to meet this person. Is this a season ticket?
This is a season ticket holder.
Well, I'm going to want to meet them then. Let's see. How about Slim and the Beauty?
Who's who?
Slim D and the Beauty.
All right, fair enough. Coach, again, thank you for the time. Welcome to San Antonio, and we look forward to seeing you back here in September.
Well, thanks a lot, Dan, and we look forward to getting started.
That's new Rampage head coach Dean Chynoweth. For SARampage.com, I'm Dan Weiss.